If you're interested in the Full Focus Planner and their goal setting system, whether you have the planner or not, this is the video for you. I'll walk you through how the goal setting works in the Full Focus system, the two different types of goals that it emphasizes, and how to choose goals that are realistic but still push you forward. We'll also touch on how the Full Focus system helps you keep your goals front and center. And I did a start here or start where video on the Full Focus Planner. I'll link it in the description. Maybe you've already watched it. Maybe you haven't. You can watch this one first and then watch that one. But if you already watched that one, maybe if it's been a little while, maybe you want to go back and watch after you've done this one to see how the parts fit together. That one focuses on the daily and the weekly pages, and this one zooms out to the bigger goals. Now you might be thinking, goals don't usually set annual goals. I know that's one of the first pages in the Full Focus Planner is annual goals. And yes, the Full Focus system does talk about 7 to 10 annual goals. But if you're just getting started, don't think about the whole year. I highly encourage you to just think about this time period. Again, whether you're planning for a quarter or you want to choose a different time period, but plan shorter rather than longer to start. Take it from this recovering overthinker. Forward motion beats perfectly planned out years every time. If you're someone who really likes to map everything out, go ahead and sketch out some ideas for more goals beyond this time period, but treat them more like a goal parking lot. Don't think that they're going to happen exactly the way you think right now, in exactly the order, on exactly the time frame. They're going to probably shift as you go along. So if you want to turn your annual goals page into a goal parking lot, go ahead. I'm not going to tell on you. The Full Focus system is designed around the idea that your goals are more likely to be achieved if they're written down, they're connected to your why, and you review them on a regular basis. You're going to focus on 2 to 3 active goals per quarter, maybe even one if you're particularly got a lot of other stuff happening. Each goal has a detail page. Each goal detail page has the type of goal, the life domain, your motivation or your why for the goal, and a next step area, along with a few other little things we'll talk about. One thing that the Full Focus system does a little bit differently, rather than SMART goals, you've probably heard of SMART goals, but they have smarter goals. So they both share specific, meaning don't be vague, measurable, meaning something that you're going to be able to check off or have a number associated with it, actionable. Sometimes the SMART goals use a different A word. I can't think of what it might be, but I think I've seen a different one sometimes. If I remember, I'll pop it on the screen. Risky, not just something easy, because otherwise, why call it a goal? Time keyed, sometimes that's time bound in SMART goals, but meaning are you setting a quarterly goal? When are you starting? When are you stopping? And then depending on the type of goal, it might have how often you're going to do something or how many of something you're going to do. Exciting, that's the E that we get with smarter, and relevant. We're on that one in a little bit. The two things then we said are different are the risky and the exciting. Risky is encouraging you to stretch but still be realistic, and exciting. One of the things sometimes people struggle with is what's the difference between a goal and a project? And one of the things about a goal is it should be exciting. It should be something that you're looking forward to. And when we talk about the next part, habit goals versus achievement goals, maybe you're not excited about the habit, but you're excited about the why. You're excited about what the big picture that you're heading for is. And that's what makes it a goal. So the two different kinds of goals that the Full Focus methodology talks about is an achievement goal or an outcome goal, and a habit goal. An achievement goal, something that's going to happen once, like I'm going to launch a new website or I'm going to run a 10K. A habit goal is something like I'm going to journal every day, or I'm going to exercise 3 days a week, some kind of a repeated behavior. This is one of those things that I really appreciate the difference between the two. And I know everybody wants an answer. How many of this should I have? Or should I have 1 of these and 2 of those or 3 of these and none of... I encourage you, if you're on the fence, at least at the beginning, especially if you're new to goal setting, is lean towards habits to start with. Maybe all habits, maybe at least 1 habit, especially if life is feeling full right now, or you're coming off of a kind of a low momentum period and you're just needing to get some traction. Start with habit goals. They will reward you in the end. Even if you're thinking about an achievement goal, I strongly encourage you, again, especially if you're relatively new to goal setting, is to think about, is there a habit I can start with that's going to move me towards my ultimate goal? And start at least this first planning period with a habit, something that's easy to check off or track. It might be that motivation that you've been lacking and might help you get where you need to get. For example, if you're trying to write something large, write a book, writing every day is going to get you to that draft sooner. But the goal of writing a book is going to take way too long to do, maybe in this quarter. If you're trying to run a race, training weekly, the number of times is going to be what's going to get you there. So make that the goal instead of the race. It's kind of like a debt snowball. I don't know if you've ever done that. I have certainly done that at some point in the past, is to get out of debt. You want to pay off those little ones first to build up momentum, to get you heading in the right direction and get you motivated, and then you pay off more and more debt. Well, think of habit goals like that, where once you successfully build a habit, then you're able to maybe build on another habit, and eventually you're going to get to the goal that you really intended all along. But in order to get there, you need to build these positive habits. So how do you pick your 2 or 3 goals for this current cycle? Here's a couple things that you should consider. Look at your life domains. So the full focus system has 10 on their goal detail pages. And if you've used other systems, they might call them life categories, life domains. GTD, Getting Things Done, calls them areas of focus. I consider those to be the same thing. So if you've already got those set up in your world, then just think about going through those. And you're not going to obviously have one in every life domain, because you have somewhere between 5 and 12 life domains or life categories, and you're only going to do 2 to 3 goals each time period that you're planning. So I'm going to say quarter, but again, I do them in 2 months. But they might spark something where you want to, over the course of several planning periods, you want to make sure you're not neglecting certain areas of your life. Make sure you have a clear why. What is your motivation for this goal? Having that written out is going to be key to keep you going when times are tough. And remember, I would say if you're unsure, lean towards habit goals, at least to start with. And so pick at least one habit goal, or pick all habit goals, but I wouldn't say pick all achievement goals, because they're usually farther off type of things. And here's a good tip. If your goal feels vague, then try breaking it down into a habit first, right? It's not going to be flashy, but that's what might get you there. Consider your season of life as well as the actual physical season that we're in. That's where this relevant comes in, right? And the smarter goals, that relevant, it has to be something that works for you now. If you're, let's say, a school teacher and you're home for the summer, you have a lot more time, so you can maybe set some more ambitious goals over the summer compared to during the school year. Or the other way around is, maybe you have kids that are home now over the summer, so maybe your goals need to revolve around them. Just think about this particular time period. That's what's so nice about these shorter time periods, is you can really look at what's happening. What's great about the full focus system is it's a system. Again, whether you have the plan or not, you can do those same steps. I realized while I was editing that I didn't really say a lot about the fact that you can do this in a Google Doc, you can do this in an Apple Note, you can do this on a piece of paper, you can do this in one of my favorite spiral notebooks. And so I'm just going to put this little note in here and let you see some of the eagles and trees, and maybe hear the crazy robin outside my window. But yes, I love the full focus planner. Yes, you should support them and buy one. But also, once you get the stuff down, you can do it wherever, however you want, and make it your own. And it doesn't just have your goals sit on a list somewhere that you revisit, once a year or once a quarter. You're going to be looking at them at least weekly. The system gives you the structure to do something about your goals. There's the weekly preview, and that includes reflecting and planning, as well as reviewing your goals and taking them into account as you're doing your planning. There is the weekly big 3, which is part of that weekly preview. And so you're going to be choosing those big 3. Once you've got these goals, you want to make sure that those weekly big 3, at least some of them, come from your goals, lead to your goals. And then there's a daily big 3, which should feed your weekly big 3. This is a system. It's not a set and forget and then come back and go, oops, didn't do anything. It's a keep things in front of you and keep the momentum going. At the bottom of the goal detail page, there is a progress bar and a streak tracker. Those are a couple ways to track your progress. I've got a few other ideas. If you'd like me to do a deep dive on how to track progress on goals, I'm happy to do that. Fun stuff. Just let me know in the comments. So that's the full focus approach to goal setting. They specify quarterly. You pick your time period. If you're not using the planner, you can pick however often you'd like to roll things over. It's simple, it's intentional, and it's grounded in both vision, right, what you want to achieve that you're heading towards, but also it gives you some steps and some, grounding in execution, so you're not just left totally on your own. If you're setting goals right now, I would love to know whether you're setting achievement goals, habit goals, or both. And you can share your exact goals if you'd like, but at least I would love to know that mix. If you're curious about building a goal snowball, I am going to be sharing my goals shortly and things that I think I'm going to be doing. I haven't sat down to do my planning yet for the summer season, my July and August, but I think they're going to be very foundational things that are going to build. So I will talk more about that when I share my goals. And hit subscribe if you want to see that when it comes out. I expect it to be very soon. Thanks so much for being here. Uh, ask any questions. Love to see you in the comments, and we'll see you back here again soon. Thanks so much. I am going to have to oil this chair.